Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's your friend Bats. My name is Jared. Here's Carl. And this is Daredevil Yellow, or just what they call now Jeph Loeb, Tim Sale Daredevil, which it says the same thing on the spine. But everyone knows this is Daredevil Yellow, even the book itself inside. I don't know why they didn't put that on the cover, but they didn't. So, this is a book that was in my wish list that my very generous cousin got me for Christmas, and last night I had pretty much finished up all my reading stack, so I'm like, okay, well, I need new stuff to read, and I didn't want to jump into a ongoing series. Basically, I have a lot of Superman to read. I got a lot of Wonder Woman to read. I got a lot of Batman to read. And I'm currently still reading the Detective Comics stuff. And I was like, all right, I need something that's just, I need a snack, essentially. And so I was like, you know what? I want to read some Marvel. I normally read Spider-Man in the winter time or when it's raining. I don't know why, but it's a thing I do. And I don't have any new Spider-Man. I was like, well, I got Daredevil. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to read some Daredevil Yellow. I haven't read this since I was probably 18 years old, and I'm 40 now. So it's been 22 years since I read this. I remember loving it when I was 18. And so getting to come back to it now as a 40-year-old man, going, maybe it's going to be different. Maybe I'll see it differently. And, I don't really, I don't really see it differently. What I do see is how much more I do appreciate Tim Sale now that, I haven't read this yet. I should read that. Now as Tim Sale is gone. Tim Sale passed away a few years ago, and knowing that there's only so much of his work now, not knowing, oh, we're going to get more, it makes it really, all that much more precious. And I guess I did see this book differently now that I didn't maybe appreciate when I was 18 was the choice of color and how Daredevil's opening monologue is in a world of black and white, or, grays, and everything's grim and bleak. And he shines in his red light, essentially he's the light. And then as you turn the page from this grim world, we go into the past of color, and the walls are yellow and everything's full of color and fun and life. And I just really appreciated that now as I'm, an old man. So I did see this book differently. Story-wise, it's the same. But as I've gotten older, so when I was younger, I used to read comics for the story. And now I know it sounds silly, but like now as I'm older, I really see comics from like the visual medium versus just like, I didn't before. I'm like, oh, it could have a crappy artist and be a good story too now. But like now, like if there's an artist that I really like on it, it just like really enhances my reading experience. And so, I back in the day, I used to think of like Tim Sale was like kind of a acquired taste. And I still think that, but now like, I just really like love Tim Sale's art and just like all the little things that he puts into it. Like, he didn't need to draw this lace, but he did. And like the details on the couch and like the walls are just kind of like sogged up, and and just like how he's just so good, man. Just like so much detail he puts into his work, and it just like there's so much life in Tim Sale's art. And I'm only a few pages into this, right? And so I read, I've said this before on my channel here, that if I read a book in one sitting, it's good. And that's what I did last night. I was like, I want to read something. It's probably take me a couple of days. My fiance was doing some work on on her computer or laptop. So we're just sitting there. She's working. I'm working, reading, and she likes the Daredevil TV show. So I was like, hey babe, check this out. Look how good this art is. And yeah, I just crushed through this last night. Probably took me about an hour to read, which I don't think is crushing it, but just this panel is awesome, man. Just like the detail in the brick and like the tile in the subway and him like grinding the rail on his billy club to the like jump, like the animation that he does, like the sequential art, even though it's not sequential, like it's just so clean. Just I just love this book, man. I loved it like back in the day. I was like, oh yeah, Daredevil was awesome. But now, as an old man, like the art is like I'm probably just gonna open this book up pretty frequently and just kind of look through it. I'll probably read this again in the near future just to reread it. And I feel like I've been starting to go back and reread things that I enjoyed when I was younger, and like just look at this page, look at this double page splash, dude. Man, Tim Sale freaking rules. Like so I've been going back and like rereading stuff because I feel like I've always done this too, where if I didn't like something in the past, I'll try it again later. Maybe I always have this mindset of like, oh, maybe it's just not for me right now. So like Dark Knight Returns, I didn't like it as a kid when I first read it when I was 12. And then I tried it again when I was like in my 20s. I didn't like it. And I tried it again in my 30s and I didn't like it. So maybe it's like I'm going to try it again in my 40s and probably not going to like it again. I've kind of accepted that I just don't like Dark Knight Returns. But I'm also going back and rereading things that I thought were great back when I was younger and coming back to it now. Like a lot of times I'm like, oh, this is good. But now, like, as I got older, I can really understand why it's so good. And I never really thought about how important an artist was, which is stupid when you think about it in comics. Like, it's a two-man show, right? You got the writer and the artist and maybe an inker and a colorist. But I didn't realize... I always thought, like I said earlier, like I thought Tim Sale was just this like abstract, acquired taste. But now I'm just like, if you don't like Tim Sale, like I kind of think you don't like art. It's like in a way, like you can't seem to enjoy comic book art and like what level of story we can tell with comics. It's like a weird thing. I guess I'm just a jerk. But man, like the mood, it's really like, that's what it is. That's what it is. That's the word I was looking for. Tim Sale is a mood, like he's a vibe, and like what this book did last night when I closed it, when I finally finished it, I was just like, yeah, like I love Daredevil. Like he's the dude. He like, and Tim Sale really gets it. And so I was like, I want to. And so when I finished this last night, I was like, I want to read more Daredevil, and I have the Bendis run in Epic Collection. So I went and look at that, man, so sick. As I finished this issue is great. The Purple Man, which is like, I read this when I was 18 and like, there was no Netflix and stuff. So like watching all those Netflix shows with like, remember the Purple Man was like the guy who played Doctor Who. He was in it. I enjoyed this even more because I'm like, oh, I know this character now. And like, So when I finished this last night, it just made me want to go read more Daredevil, and so that's what I did. I picked up the Bendis run, and I'm starting the Bendis run. So, thanks for watching. Go if you don't own this as if you are a Daredevil fan and you do not own a copy of Daredevil Yellow, please go get it now. Go get it now. I've been wanting a copy of these books for a while, but Marvel had came out with like $50 editions, which I was like, it's a bit pricey because I wanted Daredevil Yellow and Spider-Man Blue. They came out with these like $50 editions, hardcovers, and I was like, guys, come on. Like, and so then they reprinted it, and it was an omnibus with like all the Jeph Loeb Tim Sale stuff, and like that was like $100-something. I'm like, come on, dude, I just want Daredevil Yellow and Spider-Man Blue. And they finally re-released it now in soft covers, and they're $20. My cousin got these for me on Amazon, and I think they were like 15. So, but they were free for me, but you know, they're now reasonably priced. So if you don't own Daredevil Yellow, please go buy it now. It's fantastic. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.